tried to do an album review of this album, and it was so bad that I couldn't review it. Ah!
Worst 20 albums of 2021. Let's go. We're going to run through the least worst really quick, and then as we get closer to the top, we're going to have some nice images and pictures for you guys. The bottom, the best of the worst, number 20 is going to be Chevelle's whatever it's called. If you're going to be in the worst, I guess it's good to be the least worst. Something. Number 19 is OK Orchestra by AJR. I've heard some things that I enjoy from this group, and I'm slowly getting into their catalog, but this album kind of pushed me away a little bit farther than I already was. Number 18, A Day to Remember, You're Welcome, or something. Things are getting really bad already. Whew. Number 17, Solar Power by Lordi. Another album I wanted to like, but please, get off that beach. Put on some pants. 16, Garbage. No gods, no masters, no good music to be heard. Number 15, another disappointing release from Fuel, Anomaly. I was initially excited for the new stuff that they were doing with a brand new frontman. And he does a great job, but unfortunately the music, the lyrics, just nothing really strikes a chord with their newest. Number 14, Dear Monsters by Bad Wolves. I really hate to label bands as butt rock. I feel like it's a really cheap way to take shots at a rock band. But however, there is Bad Wolves. Number 12, one of my favorite bands put out a real stinker this year. AFI with Bodies. Davey said it best in Looking Tragic. He's boring me to death. And I'm fading fast. Life is too short to last long. Go listen to some Blink-182 instead of this garbage. Number 11! Ah! Merry Christmas. Idols with Crawler. Oh man, I really tried to like this one. You guys came in by the 1,000 and really destroyed my negative review of the album. It's well produced. It's well made. It's well written. Idols fans are going crazy over this one. And maybe I'll rejoin you later for the next Idols era. But I cannot stomach this album. That kind of made me feel good to get that off my chest, because I just saw on someone else's, Crash Thompson's worst albums, I saw my favorite album of the year. Check out my top 20 albums of the year somewhere on YouTube. Number 10, Candlebox has a new album, and it's bad. It's called Wolves, and I have stuck by this one-hit wonder from the 90s longer than most people, and probably longer than I should have. I've caught them live a time or two, and that's, you know, they're a good band. They are more than those two songs, You and Far Behind. But this one's bad. This one's bad. Nothing really there to rock out to. Heard a lot of other rock critics talking about the bad stuff this year is just boring. That's worse than being obnoxiously bad, in my opinion. And Daltrey's Dearly Beloved, Dearly Be Sucking. And now we're into it. Now we're in Who? Oh man, please keep these 8 albums away from me. Oh gosh. This is just absolutely wretched. Oh. Number 8, Nelly with Heartland. Oh. I initially thought that a country album by the country grammar rapper could be a really good idea. But this, it takes the worst parts of bro country and fuses it with the most generic hip hop that I've ever heard in my life. I tried to do an album review of this album, and it was so bad that I couldn't review it. Ah! It only gets worse from there. Oh, I want to cuss so bad. Number 7, Mouse Rat with Awesome Album. This is my biggest disappointment of the year. I'm a Parks and Rec fan and I waited for this thing. And it's so frustrating. There are the greats that you know from the television show. And there are a few fun songs, but they are sinking into an abyss of unfunny that couldn't be broken away from, even with the irony turned up to 1 billion. Also, Chris Pratt and his partner in creating this album didn't even know that this album was being made, and they're not making any money from it. With the musicians not being paid the way that they were supposed to, they just got the money from the acting in the show. Steer clear of this album. It's just effing garbage. Stay away from Awesome Album. No awesome. Go listen to some Billy Joe Armstrong solo material instead. The worst, man. How can this possibly get any worse than that garbage? Freaking garbage. Number 6. The Switchfoot in Turbo Bang. This is an absolute snooze fest of a record, a shoegaze nightmare that makes me want to smear dinosaurs all over my shoes. Number 5, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one too, Nowhere Generation by Rise Against. I don't know what it is, but Rise Against are the only punk band that I just can't enjoy. This album cannot sway this stupid opinion that I have. Sorry guys, you seem like a cool band, but the sound just doesn't jive with my neurons. Blame the Stars or something. Number 4 worst album of 2021. It's got to go to Jordy by Maroon 5. That was better than anything on this record. It figures that something this boring and vapid and nauseating would get billions. That's right, billions with a B on streaming. Since we're so high into this garbage, I'll try and give this one a compliment anyway. That Stevie Nicks feature almost made my cold dead heart feel something. But not quite. Trash. Yeah, I may have said more positive things about that album when it first came out, but I can change my opinion. That's right, YouTubers can do that. And that one was terrible. Number 3. 1, 2, 3. Donda. Donda. This is another one that I initially kind of dug a little bit. If this album were edited down to 10 songs instead of 27, I could probably blast this thing while cruising around city in my Honda Accord 2012. But as it sits, as of December 15th, this is miserable. I don't want to injure Kanye, but gosh. Number 2, worst album of all time. What is wrong with me? 12 Baby Mamas by Drake. I don't know the name of this. I don't care. I love hip hop, but I hear nothing on here that even resembles music. This is complete gibberish over recycled, bad, nonsensical noise beats with zero melody, zero flow. It's an abomination of all things music, and I don't understand how Drake could have 2 fans, even with his family included. I would rather go to the DMV than listen to this bull. Spotify. Hi, Bill. Yeah, I would like to rescind my streams of that new Drake album. It does matter, though. It does matter. I want Drake to pay me for hearing this. It's that bad. I don't want the Viagra Boys money. No, I don't want Green Day's money. I want Drake's money. It's bad. It's bad. The number 1 worst album of 2021. A lot of YouTubers won't do live albums or compilation albums or EPs. But my channel is the wild, wild west of YouTube. And I can do what I want. And for the worst album of the year, it's got to go to a compilation only because this thing was so horrendously compiled by one of the greatest bands. They compiled this nonsense, and we've got to give them crap for it. The number one worst album of 2021 is a compilation, and it is number one, Metallica Blacklist. It takes a lot to be worse than Drake, Metallica. Drake is the most boring entertainer in the world. How could you make something worse? I'll tell you how. You take an already flimsy idea and stretch it into something so long that Spotify doesn't even know how long it is. They don't know how long it is. It's eternal. Instead of an actual album length, Spotify says, we think it's 4 hours. We don't know because no one can listen to it to tell you. 4 hours. I can barely make it through one of these awful Metallica covers. But 4 hours! Good gosh, man. Oh, I'm a YouTuber, not a miracle worker, Jim. Are there any good bands on this thing? There's a couple. There's a couple good bands on here. But, Metallica's Torture Chamber, the Blacklist, it's a hellish nightmare. Well, you were here, the same Metallica song, 7 times in a row, getting longer and longer. And just when it thinks, the Metallica have taken your sight, taken your mind. This is when the real torture begins, as it feels like an army of 10,000 musicians crank out the worst possible renditions of Nothing Else Matters for 15 hours straight. From Darius Rucker to My Morning Jacket and 20,000 other artists you've never heard of and don't care about. I can't imagine that even the most hardcore Metallica fan could sit through this freaking garbage. What is this? I get that in the age of streaming, people can pluck songs from this 4-hour black hole of sorrow. But this is the laziest compilation I've ever seen in all my years of musical nerdiness. That started about in the 90s somewhere, possibly the 80s somewhere. I could make an entire video about how bad this compilation is, but I just want to forget this beast exists. To get away as quickly as possible. Go check out my best albums of 2021, and also I'm working on the best songs of 2021, the worst songs of 2021, and all the other year-end wrap-up lists that any Green Day nerd or Hank Williams fan or Metallica fan could ever want. Please kill me now. Well, maybe after I get some Christmas gifts. Over here.